What I do at Chuckalt every day, there's no way I can do it without Rachel. First of all, I made a joke and she didn't necessarily like it, and it probably isn't all that funny, but I made a joke to her the other day about throwing myself out a window from frustration. Now, I wasn't frustrated at the time. We were just talking about how we help each other. I help her, she helps me. We're dealing with a lot of heady things, people, revenue, expenses, growth, like all the stuff. There's no way you can do that without a solid partner. Now, some people would say, well, I have a coworker to do that with it. Why does it have to be HR? Depending on the job you're in, I think HR is one of the most pivotal functions in an organization to be successful. And it's not the hiring and firing. It's the dynamic of interpersonal engagement. Because if you don't have the people right and you're not right, your people too, it's not going to work. It helps hold off toxicity, misunderstandings. You have to be centered on the people that make a business go. And by the way, everybody, it drives into the client base. Clients can feel when the employee base is stable. Every company I work with, currently or in my past, and some are both, you can tell when an organization is properly partnered and led internally and that the people are center versus the ones that aren't. The customers can feel it. I always said, and if you're a customer listening, you can forgive me, but I've always said customers are like kids and horses. They can smell it. They know what's happening in the room before most people do. So you better be right with your HR partners, and you better find good ones that are people-centered, that are business savvy. Last piece, and I'm going to shut up. A lot of HR people are just trained in the process of HR, hiring, firing, reviews, bonuses, merit, the cycle. The best HR business partners have a curiosity about the business. Rachel has that. Benny Parada had it at Fiserv, Carrie, Molly Warner at US Bank. I'm dropping names. These are really important people in my career that were curious about what we were doing every day. Because if they're curious about what you're doing every day as the business person, they're going to be more effective at their job for you. So if you're just working with a robotic HR person, find another one. How's that for edgy? Or at least seek somebody out that can maybe help them become more curious. Treat them, bring them in. Every staff meeting I've ever had the last 15 years, I had HR sitting at the table because they're not the enemy, they're your partner. And you have to start teaching that down. And I'll shut up.
And that's the key. That's the key, bringing HR into your business and giving them a seat at the table, right? So even though, of course, HR needs to be centered around the employee experience, what's been interesting over the past few decades is HR has really shifted in many cases, especially in large companies, from being employee-focused and more towards being a business partner, right? So HR is empowering and guiding and leading the businesses to best support their employees. And it's less about, hey, I have an issue with my benefits, and it's more about what's your workforce going to look like next year? What are some of the changes in the business that are happening that will impact how our employees are feeling or how they're able to be productive? And so taking the step as a business leader and bringing your HR partner into the table is critical. The first time I had that experience was, gosh, I think this was probably in like 2007, 2008. So the iPhone was brand new. I was at AT&T. And I was supporting an executive. His name is Abhi Ingle. He's actually in Dallas, Patrick. I need to introduce you to each other. Abhi, if you're listening, we'll come say hi soon. Abhi headed up the Mobility Application Solutions Division team at AT&T. So it was the first days of when enterprises and businesses were actually using mobile devices in their workflow. It was for telemetry in hospital beds. It was for field service. It was, the UPS driver they were just getting rid of their paper clipboards and they were using some big clunky device to be able to scan your packages. And so we were building the sales solutions team to essentially empower that across different industry verticals. And he brought me in as a member of his team. I got to know the business. I got to know their rhythms, their expectations. And it was the most enjoyable for me, and I think the most productive for him and for the team. And we're able to accomplish so much in such a short time because of that. And so really bringing your HR partner into the business and giving them opportunities to understand what's going on and treat them more as an extension of your team and less as an auxiliary administrative professional will really make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's not an admin role if it's done right.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I think the business leaders should recognize that and find opportunities to seek that out. I think HR partners or HR professionals, right? The way to become curious. So I think I had an advantage over other HR people because I started my career in recruiting. And when you're in recruiting, you know a little bit about almost every job in a company, and you get an understanding of how dots are connected between different departments. So you know that when a business launches a new product or signs a new deal or acquires a new company, you get a sense of, oh, so now they need 12 more finance people and 17 more salespeople. And we need to separate the channel sales from the direct sales. Product marketing is different than other types of marketing, which is really cool. So I got to learn a lot about that early in my career. And I think that has helped me continue my curiosity and be a better partner in whichever business that I'm in. But I think if you're an HR person and you're listening to this and you're trying to think about how to either rehabilitate or build a better relationship with those that you serve, and here's the takeaway, figure out what your strength is and what your sweet spot is and lead with that. And then phone a friend for everything else. No HR person is ever awesome at everything. In very large companies, you'll have centers of excellence, right? You'll be a general business partner or an HR generalist, as we used to call them. And then you'll tap into the COEs for compensation or benefits or talent acquisition or whatever. In smaller companies, you may not have that luxury, but be okay with not being an expert in every single part of HR. Phone a friend, bring in a vendor, consultant, whatever for projects, but lead with where your strength is and where your passion is and go deep.